Hey, I hope you guys get a lot out of this. This is just awesome. It's the 5 pillars of becoming more like Jesus. 1, gratitude, kindness, and generosity. I'm counting that as 1. Being humble, patience, and the 5th one being love. Are you ready? This is going to be good stuff. Gratitude. Gratitude brings you closer to God because it is an expression of appreciation for His blessings, love, and provisions in your life. Here's how gratitude fosters a deeper connection with God. Number 1, it acknowledges God's goodness. When you cultivate gratitude, you recognize and acknowledge the goodness of God in your life. It shifts your focus from what may be lacking or difficult to the abundance of blessings around you. This awareness of His goodness strengthens your faith and deepens your trust in Him. 2, humility and dependence. Gratitude humbles your heart and reminds you of your dependence on God. It acknowledges that every good thing in your life comes from Him. By recognizing His role as the ultimate source of all blessings, you develop a deeper sense of humility and surrender, realizing that you cannot achieve or acquire everything on your own. 3, deepening trust and faith. Gratitude helps you develop a stronger sense of trust in God's plan and faithfulness as you reflect on past blessings and answered prayers. You are reminded of His faithfulness and provision. This strengthens your trust, and in His guidance and care for your future, gratitude becomes an anchor in times of uncertainty, reminding you of God's steadfast love. Shifting perspective. Gratitude shifts your perspective from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you appreciate the blessings and opportunities present in your life. This shift in perspective aligns your heart with God's abundance and opens you up to receive His blessings with a grateful heart. Cultivating a relationship. Gratitude is an act of worship and a way to express love and gratitude to God. By regularly practicing gratitude, you actively engage in a relationship with Him. It creates space for open and honest communication, deepening your connection with God and fostering a sense of intimacy and closeness. Gratitude is a powerful spiritual practice that not only brings you closer to God, but also transforms your perspective and enhances your overall well-being. It's a reminder of His constant presence and love in your life. Don't you love that? Kindness and generosity. This is the 2nd pillar. Kindness and generosity brings us closer to God because they align with His nature and teachings. Reflecting God's character, God is known for His kindness and generosity towards all beings. By practicing kindness and generosity, we are reflecting His character and attributes. It allows us to embody His love and compassion in our actions towards others. 2, serving others. When we show kindness and generosity, we are serving others selflessly. This is an important aspect of our relationship with God as He calls us to love and serve one another. By putting the needs of others before our own, we demonstrate our commitment to following God's teachings. Man, we can learn a lot from that. You could preach on that for hours. The 3rd part of this 2nd phase is creating a positive impact. Kindness and generosity have the power to create a positive impact on the lives of others. When we show kindness, we uplift and inspire those around us. When we are generous, we provide support and help to those in need. These acts of kindness and generosity bring us closer to God because they align with His desire for us to make a positive difference in the world. The 4th part of the 2nd pillar, cultivating a grateful heart. When we practice kindness and generosity, we develop a grateful heart. We become aware of the blessings in our lives and appreciate the opportunities to help and support others. Gratitude is an essential aspect of our relationship with God as we acknowledge His blessings and express our thankfulness for His love and grace. In summary, kindness and generosity bring us closer to God because they reflect His character, allow us to serve others, create a positive impact, and cultivate a grateful heart. By embodying these qualities, we can strengthen our relationship with God and experience His presence in our lives. I love that. Okay, the 3rd pillar, being humble. Being humble is indeed a virtue that brings us closer to God, and here's why. Number one, acknowledging our dependence, humility brings and helps us recognize that we are dependent on a higher power, namely God. It allows us to acknowledge our limitations, weaknesses, and need for His guidance and grace. By humbling ourselves before God, we open ourselves up to His wisdom and guidance in our lives. Surrendering control. That's the second part of this third pillar. Humility involves surrendering our own desires, ego, and control to God's will. It is an act of trust and reliance on His plans and purposes by letting go of our own agendas and submitting to God's authority. We invite Him to work in and through us, bringing us closer to His divine plan. Third part of this third pillar, cultivating a right perspective. Humility helps us see ourselves in proper perspective in relationship to God. It prevents us from becoming prideful, self-centered, or boastful. Instead, it encourages us to recognize our own shortcomings while acknowledging the greatness and sovereignty of God. This perspective allows us to develop a genuine reverence and awe for Him. You know, I'm just going to say I love all of this, right? Is this not good stuff? Okay, the fourth part of that third pillar, embracing servanthood. Humility leads us to serve others selflessly, just as Jesus demonstrated during His earthly ministry. By humbly serving others, we imitate Christ's example of love and compassion. When we serve with a humble heart, we reflect God's character and bring His presence into the lives of those around us. Gosh, that is so important, don't you agree? Okay, the fifth part of this third pillar, receiving God's grace. Humility opens us up to receiving God's grace and forgiveness. When we approach God humbly, acknowledging our need for His mercy, He extends His love and forgiveness to us. This leads to a deeper connection and intimacy with Him. In summary, humility brings us closer to God by acknowledging our dependence on Him, surrendering control, cultivating a right perspective, embracing servanthood, and receiving His grace. It is an essential quality that allows us to grow in our relationship with God and experience His presence and blessings in our lives. Guys, is this not good stuff? This is good stuff. Okay, the fourth pillar, patience. Patience is indeed a virtue that can bring us closer to God, and here's how. Number one, trusting in God's timing. Patience involves trusting in God's perfect timing and plan for our lives. It requires us to wait with faith and confidence, knowing that God's timing is always best. Boy, that's tough, isn't it? Yeah. By patiently waiting for His guidance and provision, we demonstrate our reliance on Him and deepen our trust in His faithfulness. The second part of that fourth pillar, developing perseverance. Patience helps us develop perseverance and endurance in the face of challenges and difficulties. It allows us to endure trials with a steadfast spirit, knowing that God is with us and will strengthen us through patience. We learn to rely on God's strength and wisdom to overcome obstacles, which ultimately bring us closer to Him. The third part of that fourth pillar, practicing self-control. Patience involves practicing self-control and restraint. It helps us to manage our emotions, impulses, and desires, allowing us to respond to situations with wisdom and grace. By cultivating self-control through patience, we align our actions with God's will and develop a character that reflects His nature. Fourth part of that fourth pillar, seeking God's guidance. Patience encourages us to seek God's guidance and wisdom in decision making. Instead of rushing into impulsive choices, we patiently wait for God's direction and guidance. I know that's tough, right? That's pretty tough, but that's really what we're supposed to do. Pray about it and wait on His guidance. This reliance on God's wisdom and discernment deepens our relationship with Him and enables us to make choices that align with His purpose. The fifth part of that fourth pillar, growing in humility. Patience fosters humility within us. When we patiently wait for God's timing and trust in His plan, we recognize that we are not in control and submit ourselves to His authority. This humble posture allows us to draw closer to God, acknowledging His sovereignty and seeking His will above our own. In summary, patience brings us closer to God by trusting in His timing, developing perseverance, practicing self-control, seeking His guidance, and growing in humility. It is through the practice of patience that we deepen our relationship with Him, align ourselves with His purposes, and experience His faithfulness in our lives. Gosh, I love that. Last one is love. That's the fifth pillar, most important one. Absolutely. Love is a powerful force that can bring us closer to God in many ways. Here's how. Number one, love for God. When we genuinely love God with all our hearts, souls, and minds, we draw closer to Him. Our love for God is expressed through worship, prayer, and devotion. It deepens our connection with Him and opens our hearts to His presence and guidance. The second part of that fifth pillar, love for others. Jesus taught us to love our neighbors as ourselves. When we extend love, kindness, and compassion to others, we reflect God's love in our actions. By loving and serving others, we draw closer to God because we are living out His commandments and emulating His character. The third part of that fifth pillar. Love as a transforming power. Love has the power to transform us from within. When we allow God's love to flow through us, it changes our attitudes, behaviors, and perspectives. As we experience God's love and share it with others, we become more like Him and draw closer to His divine nature. Gosh, I love that. Number 4, love as a unifying force. Love unites people and brings them together in harmony. When we foster love and unity within our communities, we create an environment that reflects God's kingdom on earth. By promoting love and reconciliation, we draw closer to God's heart and His desire for peace and unity. The fifth part of this fifth pillar. Love as a source of strength. Love gives us strength and resilience in times of difficulty. When we face challenges, hardships, or trials, the love of God sustains us and empowers us to persevere. By relying on His love, we draw closer to Him and experience His faithfulness and provisions. Isn't that good stuff? In summary, love is a powerful force that brings us closer to God through our love for God, love for others, the transformative power of love, the unifying force of love, and the strength found in love. We deepen our relationship with Him and align ourselves with His divine nature. Love is central to our connection with God and plays a significant role in our spiritual journey. Did you guys get a lot out of that? I would love to hear your comments. Also, take time to meditate daily, morning, afternoon, and night is what the Bible says on God's Word. It says to meditate on that, fill ourselves up with that. That's good stuff. That's going to help draw us closer to Christ as well and help us to become more like Christ in our daily walk. Wouldn't you agree? Thank you so much for listening to this. Look, if you think others would enjoy this message, would you share this message to them? I would absolutely love that. Also, if you like this channel, you like these kind of messages, anything motivating and uplifting and that's got God's presence in it, definitely, please subscribe. I'm building this channel. I would love your support. Subscribe, like it. That just says, Rodney, you're on the right track. You're doing a good job. I would appreciate it. And I thank you so much. God bless and have a fantastic rest of your day.